It's been a wild year for keyboards. Hundreds of new keyboards have launched, but somehow this $99 keyboard stayed at the top. How did it pull that off? At this price, you'd expect compromises, plastic cases, low quality keycaps, and a stiff typing feel. Yet, this keyboard has features you'd typically pay $300 for. A full aluminum case, a stylish weight on the back, and a perfect out-of-the-box sound. This is the Rainy 75 from Wobkey, a new company that came out of nowhere, and this is their first product, which is crazy. It began with a $1.5 million crowdfunding campaign and over 10,000 backers in January 2024. Sure, the launch wasn't perfect, there were fulfillment issues, but they overcame them, and this is now the most recommended keyboard of the year. So how did a no-name company do that, and why hasn't anything beaten it yet? This video is not sponsored, although we were sent this keyboard for free. I've been using it for months now, and I finally uncovered the secret behind its lasting popularity. And I'm thirsty. So right out of the box, this thing feels premium, like a custom keyboard that costs hundreds of dollars, except you don't have to build it, and it's $99. It's so heavy that if someone breaks into your house, you just throw this at them, chuck it at them, problem solved. Just kidding, don't do that. You probably strain a shoulder or something. The case is made entirely of aluminum, and there's some fun engravings and premium rounded bezels, features that are typically reserved for more expensive boards. The back features engraved clouds and falling rain and a centered USB-C port. And let's not forget that sleek glass gradient weight on the back. Nice. But a keyboard's price and a design can only take it so far. It isn't enough to get people to want to actually buy it. But what about the Rainy 75 makes it so special that most people do end up buying it? First of all, it has a functional yet still compact 75% layout with a gap between the number row and the function row. This prevents you from fat fingering your F keys by accident when you type in numbers. The layout manages to keep 5 out of 6 nav cluster keys too. If you're a diehard fan of Insert, don't worry, we've got you covered for that using its software that we'll take a look at later. Then there's those tritone keycaps. They're made of high quality double shot PBT, so your keycaps won't degrade or get shiny over time. They add a premium aesthetic that you'd expect on a pricier keyboard. So depending on the color you get, your keycaps will change accordingly. Here's what the keycaps look like on the blue keyboard and the white keyboard. They're still budget keyboards, so if you look real closely, you can see slight irregularities with the legends. The thicknesses of the text vary, there's some subtle weirdness going on, but it's not extremely noticeable. Then there's the tri-mode wireless. Yes, that includes 2.4G, so you can connect wirelessly without worrying about the big lag spikes. These connections let you switch between devices seamlessly, though I'm not sure why you'd want to lug this heavy keyboard to the couch or anywhere in the house that's not your desk, unless you're trying to work out while working. Most people typically use a wired connection at their PC anyways, but hey, more options. It's a huge win. It even has what they call ultra low latency mode. It goes as low as 2 milliseconds for those of you who need a more responsive keyboard, and then with 2.4G it does 3 milliseconds. To connect with different devices, you press FN and F1234 depending on your desired connection mode. But there's no onboard dongle storage. Wobkey, why have you forsaken me? But serious though, like, just put dongle storage somewhere, it would be nice. Now, there are a lot of good aluminum keyboards at $99 now, such as the Shoki ND75 or the Epicmaker P75, but the one good thing they lack is software. Good software to remap your keys. The Rainy 75 uses VIA, it's browser-based, it's pretty easy to use. All you have to do is download a JSON file from their website, load it into VIA, and then start tinkering. Every change you make when remapping your keys is saved to your keyboard instantly. It lets you create macros, change your RGB effects. The RGB is only available on the Pro or the Standard Edition and not the Light Edition. But you'll find that by taking advantage of the software and the 4 different layers, you'll realize that 75% is more than enough for a keyboard. If you do want a number pad, maybe think about another keyboard. And then there's this crazy bouncy gasket mount. Gaskets are these little silicone or porous strips inside a keyboard that makes the typing feel softer and bouncier. It's a feature that's always been reserved for more expensive keyboards, mostly custom keyboards, but not anymore. Now, most keyboards have it, and it feels pretty nice. So we'll take a look at the Rainy's internals later to get a closer look at the gaskets. All right, let's not forget about the sound. The Rainy 75 sounds amazing out of the box. This is the light version with the violet switches, and it's pretty satisfying for only $99. If you go up by $10, you can get standard, and if you go up to I think $139, you can get the Pro version. The Pro version comes with cocoa switches, which sounds slightly different. The sound is like raindrops hitting a tin roof. It's the perfect mix of calming and satisfying. But be careful, it can get pretty loud, so if someone's around you and they hear you're typing, they may get pretty mad. It's loud, it's poppy. But let's be real here, I've built $500 keyboards and they don't even sound this good. And when they did, it required hours of hand lubing and tuning the stabilizers. But these stabilizers are fine out of the box. You don't have to do anything. Now, it's not perfect. While the Rainy 75 is priced at $99 for the light version, shipping costs can add up, especially if you're ordering internationally. That said, even with the added costs, it's still one of the best values on the market for what you're getting. And some people may want the more expensive versions, like the ones with RGB or bigger batteries or different switches. Then the price can add up quite a bit. Also, Wobkey, the maker of the Rainy 75, has had some fulfillment and QC issues in the past, so it makes sense to pay a little bit extra on Amazon. That way you at least get good customer service in case something does go wrong. It's just insurance. With all that being said, the Rainy 75 is still in a league of its own. Even when you compare it to similar keyboards, the Rainy checks all the boxes, and the others might be missing one thing or another. But how does it feel to actually use this keyboard every day? Typing on the Rainy feels freeing, like you're riding a bike on a perfectly smooth trail. While writing this script, I just wanted to keep on typing and typing. But let's break down why it's so nice, because it's hard to explain with words. First, you have that gasket mount that I mentioned before. It has a nice bounce and softness. It also absorbs unwanted sounds. The linear violet switches are pretty smooth and they're light for typing for a long enough time. But they're also not light enough where just resting on your fingers is going to make them actuate. So for switches, you get three options. The light version has only violet switches. The Pro version comes with cocoa switches or JWK white on black switches, and all three are linear switches and they're all pre-lubed. They have subtle differences in sounds. But if you want to change them out, if you want tactiles, if you want clickies, they are hot swappable, so you can do that. But most people probably won't have to use the hot swap feature. The sound is a bit poppy with no hollowness or unwanted rattling. And when you combine the soft gasket, the pre-lube switches, the case quality, the Rainy 75 gives you a typing experience that's far beyond its $99 price tag. But what's happening inside the case to make it feel this good? Let's take a look. To take this keyboard apart, you have to take off some of its keycaps to access the screws underneath. The case itself has a screwless design, but it just means the screws are invisible inside the case. So inside, you can see its soft PP plate. This material is extra soft and flexible. The Pro version has an FR4 plate, which is a bit stiffer, but it's red and looks really cool if you look at it. And if you want RGB, don't get the light version, get some of these. The RGB is south facing, so if you're using shine through keycaps, the lighting won't shine evenly and it could look a little ugly. Just something to keep in mind. The PCB has flex cuts as well as the plate. So both of these work to enhance how soft and bouncy it is at different places. However, it's a bit unbalanced. Certain areas, like the middle, are more flexible, while areas along the outside are a little stiffer. When you're typing though, you're not gonna notice this unless you're looking for it. There's also various layers of foam. You've got one on the back of the PCB, another between the PCB and the plate. You also have a piece of PE foam and then a thin PET film too. If you're into tinkering, you can play around with the foams to get your favorite sound profile. I sort of just like all the foams in it. At the bottom, you can see the 3500 milliampere hour battery and then a weight on the other side for the side with no battery. The Pro version has two of these batteries to total 7000 milliampere hours, so it doesn't have that weight. The back has a gradient for the standard and Pro versions, and then a stainless steel weight with a crushed rock design on the back, which does look pretty cool. Now, compared to other keyboards that cost $99, the Rainy outclasses them easily in build quality, sound, and feature set. A cheaper option would be an Owlet F75, which sits at $70. It has a lot of the same features, except it has a plastic case and poorer software. By spending another $30, you can drastically improve your keyboard's quality and user experience. Now, if you're looking at a similar price keyboard like the Bridge 75, which even has extra features, when you actually use them, the Rainy just like it feels better. It's really hard to explain, but everything adds up together. Like, they focus on the finer details that just level up your keyboard a bit more. Of course, price is just one thing, but sound is just as important. So let's hear all of them. Here are the sound tests back to back. So it's crazy to me that this is just a $99 keyboard out of the box with zero modifications, and many online sound tests don't do it justice. Want to see how the Rainy 75 stacks up to other budget keyboards? I've compared them all in this video.